remember these skills to be less vulnerable and more resilient in the pseudonym ABC Please. In ABC Please, A is for accumulate positive emotions. When you accumulate positive experiences, events, and valued behavior patterns, you build a wall between you and emotional dysfunction. B is for build mastery. This means doing things that make you feel competent and effective. This is a line of defense against helplessness and hopelessness. C is for cope ahead. This means you want to get ahead of emotional situations. Before you get into an emotional situation, you rehearse a plan so that you are prepared to cope with the situation skillfully. Please stands for a set of skills that will help you take care of your mind while taking care of your body. An out-of-balance body increases vulnerability to negative emotions and emotion mind. In my work as a registered dietitian, treating people with eating disorders, this is quite obvious. When you're not getting proper nourishment, the emotional drive from your unconscious worsens the situation by creating emotional, psychological, and psychiatric issues that drive you more deeply into the negative behavior of mistreating your body. Because of these highly emotional states, it's very hard to connect to the rationale. Your body needs fuel. It is impossible to survive, find balance, and grounding without fueling your body. This is one of the major reasons I started learning the DBT skills, so I could teach them to my patients. Finding wise mind, that balance between emotion and rational mind, requires the body to be in a stable, grounded, taken care of state. The mnemonic please covers treating physical illness, balanced eating, avoiding mood-altering substances, balanced sleep, and exercise. If you use the skills in this part of the module to take care of your body, you will increase your emotional resilience. Balanced sleep is essential and is also awesome. I love sleeping. Try to get the amount of sleep that helps you feel good. Not too much, not too little. This usually falls between 7 and 9 hours of sleep each night. A sleep schedule is revelatory. It's difficult to achieve, and it is amazing practice to keep your rhythms consistent. If you have difficulty sleeping, this could be related to mood. It could be related to stress, anxiety, an unhygienic sleeping environment, or an inability to relax enough to get yourself into deep sleep. This can be a frustrating process. It is very important to address these issues. Increasing research suggests that lack of sleep is related to a wide variety of emotional difficulties. Adequate sleep on a daily basis is essential for both mental and physical health. Difficulties with sleeping can often be solved by using a series of sleep-inducing strategies. There's an enormous amount of research showing that both quality and quantity of sleep are related to physical and mental health. Length of sleep is also related to longevity. Either too little or too much sleep is associated with shorter lifespan. Evidence for particular importance of sleep in the mood disorders has increased over the past decade. Among adolescents and adults with mood disorders, sleep disturbances is a risk factor for mood disorder episodes. Improper sleep has an adverse impact on emotion regulation, cognitive functioning, and it compromises health and may contribute to substance use, comorbidity, and suicidality. Sleep disturbances are now seen as an important but under-recognized mechanism in the cause and maintenance of the mood disorders because The biology underpinning the sleep and circadian system is an open system readily influenced by input from the environment. There are now several powerful, simple, and inexpensive treatments. The steps to the sleep hygiene protocol are intended to increase the likelihood of restfulness and sleep. Develop and follow a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. When it comes to sleep, ritual is everything. Go to bed and get up at the same time each day. Engage in the same rituals each night when it's time for bed. Avoid anything longer than a 10-minute nap during the day. The idea is to get the time of day to be a prompting event for sleep. Do not use your bed for daytime activities such as watching TV, talking on the phone, or reading a book during the day. This will make you more likely to associate your bed with sleep. Avoid certain things before bed. These include stimulants like caffeine or nicotine, alcohol, and heavy meals late in the day. It's also important not to exercise 3 to 4 hours before going to bed. Not watching TV before bed if a show is emotionally arousing is also something to put into practice. Prepare your room for sleep. I can go real far with this one. Turn off the light, keep the room quiet, make the room temperature comfortable and relatively cool. Electric blankets can be great if you get cold. Gravity blankets can be great if you have anxiety. Putting your feet outside of the blanket or turning on the fan directed in your direction can be helpful if you get too cold. Having blackout curtains or wearing a sleep mask can be helpful if you're sensitive to light. Using earplugs or having a white noise machine can be helpful to block out any outside noise. And if you're going to go all out like me, you'll put on a humidifier, an air purifier, and an essential oil diffuser to complete your environment. Sleep hygiene is my favorite thing. I get as excited about it as I can about exercising, food, skincare, hair care, baths, you name it. I am all about the self-care. Next, give yourself a half hour to an hour to fall asleep. You likely need 7 to 9 hours of sleep, so you better get into bed for 8 to 10 hours. If you still have trouble falling asleep, do not catastrophize about not sleeping. Catastrophizing about not sleeping is sure to keep you awake. Worrying about not sleeping is one of the major factors in continuing insomnia. When sleep is completely elusive, rest in bed, reminding yourself that it will be okay. Do not decide to give up on sleeping for the night and get up for the day. If you are calm but wide awake, get out of bed and pursue a quiet activity. Go to another room and read a book or do some other quiet activity that will not wake you up any further. Listen to public radio with eyes closed. Listening to public radio like NPR at low volume is a good choice because there's little fluctuation in voice tone or volume. Do not listen to the news if it will disturb you. If you're anxious or ruminating, you can use the tip skills we will be discussing in the distress tolerance module. A brief glimpse at tip skills include splashing your face with cold water, putting your face in a bowl of ice water or cold water on your eyes and upper face would reduce arousal for a brief time. After you do one of these things, get right back into bed. Another way to block ruminating is to practice paced breathing as soon as you lie back down. If you have any medical conditions, however, get medical approval before using the cold water. If you're anxious or ruminating, you can also try the 9 to 0 meditation practice. This meditation will put a slight burden on your memory that will interfere with worries. breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly, saying in your mind the number 9. On the next breath out, say 8. Next, say 7, and so on until you get to 0. Then start over, but this time instead of starting with 9, start with 8 as you breathe out, followed by 7, and so on until you reach 0. Next, start with 6 and so on to 0, then start with 5, then 4, and so on until you have gone all the way down to starting with 1. Continue with the practice, starting over as often as necessary until you fall asleep. It's another version of counting sheep. If you are anxious or ruminating, you can focus on bodily sensations. You can also read an emotionally engrossing novel for a few minutes until you feel somewhat tired. Then stop reading, close your eyes, and try to continue the novel in your head. You can reassure yourself, reminding yourself that what appears to be very big problems in the middle of the night often do not seem so worrisome in the morning. You can tell yourself, these are just middle of the night thoughts, and in the morning I will think and feel differently. If ruminating still doesn't stop, then if it's solvable, solve it. If it's not solvable, go deep into the worry all the way to catastrophe. The very worst outcome you can imagine, and then imagine coping ahead with the catastrophe. If you are a person who does not have trouble sleeping, has an amazing sleeping environment, eats well, exercises and enjoys using your body, and knows how to use these please skills to treat any illness that ever comes up, and you practice sobriety, you probably don't even need most of these other emotion regulation skills. It's amazing what self-care does to help us feel our best and to be able to manage the events and influences of life.